Francisco Goya, Transition into Insanity. Francisco Goya was born March 30th, 1746, and died April 16th, 1828. He was a Spanish painter of the Romantic style. At the age of 14, Goya studied under José Luzán Martínez. In 1763, Goya joined a studio created by the brothers Francisco and Ramon Subius. Goya married the sister to the brothers, Josefa. He nicknamed her Pepa. Attempted entry twice into the Royal Academy of Fine Art in 1763 and 1766, but he was denied entry. Goya started his professional relationship with royalty in 1774 by means of an Anton Raphael Mengs for a tapestry cartoon, later produced by the Royal Tapestry Factory. He went on to paint 63 more tapestries for the royal family. The painting The Blind Guitarist was among the many. However, tapestry weavers denied the painting, claiming it to be too complex. Goya preserved it in copperplate etching. Upon his popularity among royal patrons and aristocrats, he was promoted to court painter for Charles IV. In the year 1789, the French monarchy crumbled, proceeding to France, declaring war on Spain. At this time, Goya traveled to Cadiz and Andalusia. He traveled with a man named Sebastian Martinez Perez. Goya painted an incredible portrait, and in the note Sebastian holds in his hand it reads, Don Sebastian Martinez by his friend Goya, 1792. A serious illness fell upon Goya between 1792 and 1793, leaving him deaf. Goya started becoming introspective and reclusive. He started painting a series of experimental art. He created a suite of 80 etchings, one of them titled Out Hunting for Teeth, as you see on the left. The series was based on nightmare visions about world realities. The Spanish monarch of Charles IV ended when Napoleon invaded Spain in 1808. Goya painted members of the French regime and in 1811 was awarded the Royal Order of Spain. After the Spanish monarchy was restored in 1814, the new king, Ferdinand VII, revoked the constitution and declared himself absolute monarch. To prove Goya's allegiance, he painted two paintings, the 2nd of May and the 3rd of May in 1808. A shift in his art style happened between 1793 and 1794. Goya painted 11 small pictures on tin dubbed Fantasy and Invention. They depict dark and dramatic themes, more nightmarish than previous paintings. Yard with Lunatics marks an important transition as Goya was undergoing a physical and mental breakdown. Due to his illness developing, causing him to hear voices in his head, and his deafness increased. Though his illness was never truly identified, there were several theories. His imbalance and progressive deafness suggested a disease called Meniere's disease. After he died, some assessments led to the belief of paranoid dementia he was suffering towards the end of his life. Goya created 85 prints called The Disasters of War, 1810 to 1820. The series depicts the horrifying aspect of war and Spain's fight to be free from France. It was never published. One of his etchings, One Can't Look, is a second part to the painting The 3rd of May. Goya later moved to a small retreat named Quinta del Sorda, the deaf man's house, which coincidentally was named that due to the previous tenant being deaf. Having no commissions, he became isolated from society, unaware of political and intellectual life. Goya developed a disdain for mankind, and after experiencing deafness and 2 near-fatal illnesses, he started losing his grip on sanity. He started painting on the walls of his house dark, disturbing images of cannibalism, witchcraft, and war. These paintings, marked on the plaster of his walls in his living room and dining room, were never meant to be seen. Most names given to the paintings were from art historians. They were initially catalogued by Antonio Brugada in 1828. These paintings were named the Black Paintings. The most famous of these, Saturn devouring his son, is the easiest to associate the tone of the rest to. It depicts the Titan Saturn eating one of his sons he feared would overthrow him. It's been suggested that this represents Spain's conflicts. In the later artworks, you can see how his tone has changed with his mental illness. Dissatisfied or in fear of the Spanish monarchy, Goya retired to Bordeaux in 1824. He lived out his final days in France and died in 1828. In these images, you can see the clear differences between the 2 periods of his life. The first image, the Meadow of San Isidro, shows a light-hearted cartoon style. The second image displayed below, a pilgrimage to San Isidro, showing his post-war views and his new art style of ghastly faces and dark tones. Here are some more of the Black paintings. Left, Judas and Holofernes. In this painting by Goya, it shows Judith holding a knife ready to cut the head, or perhaps castrate, Holofernes. This may have been a reference to Fernando VII as Holofernes. On the right, 2 old men. In this painting, it shows the old gray man in friar robes with an animalistic or demonic character whispering into his ear. Perhaps Goya's depiction of the voices in his own head. This is one of my favorite paintings. It shows the Fates. It shows Astropos, the cutter of the life thread, who chose the manner of death. Lachesis, decider of the length of life, who carries a mirror instead of a staff, suggesting perhaps time. And Clortho, the spinner of life, instead of holding a distaff, which weaves the thread, is holding a child or a doll, another metaphor for life. There is also a 4th character, perhaps a man with their hands bound, representing man's bind to an unalterable fate. All the figures are hideous and grotesque, showing Goya's late art style.